Okay, reading from the Antya-khaṇḍa, the Antya-lila of the Caitanya-bhāgavata, chapter 5, text 202. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hena-mate Śrī Gaurasundara nīlācale, rahilena kīrtana-vihāra-kutūhale. In this way, Śrī Gaurasundara enjoyed pastimes of kirtan while residing in Nīlācala. Om Jnana-timirandasya gananjana shalakaya Chaksur unmalatam yena tasmai Śrī Gurave namaha. Śrī Caitanya-mano bhishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati sapadantikam. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaebhacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Vrindavan. This is my little bhajan kutir in Vrindavan. And people started to arrive for my retreat. And it really got off to a really grand start. I was kind of pretty surprised too, because people are coming, not everybody's here. We have a group already of about, I think, 8 or 9 people. And so I took them out today at 9:30. And it's Sunday, so there's a lot of cars and traffic and noise. And usually, you know, my strategy in taking people to Vrindavan is to first take them to the real Vrindavan. Real Vrindavan is the cows and the birds and the trees. And I take them to the forests, you know, the flower gardens of Vrindavan. It's like a little secret, I know. I know this black door, and it opens up into this amazing flower gardens. And we go to this Mali, this garden. I think some of you have been with me, and we have the Brijbasi rotis, and it just gives people such an experience. But not everybody's here, so I didn't want to do it today. So I just took them out on the Prikram path. And usually after a long trip and whatever difficulties is with people, I kind of have to carry them and put my energy in, and you know, they're walking. But all I had is a little pair of kartals, no mridanga, no sound system, noise on the brick. And I started chanting, and just everybody participated. Everybody was in an enthusiastic mood. And Vrindavan opens up, and where Vrindavan is, more than anything else, is in the hearts of the residents that are here. The joy that they see when they see people chanting Hare Krishna, and the sadhus, how they join in the dancing, and just immediately, Vrindavan revealed herself. And that's really how you know something. If something is personal, you only know it when the person reveals themselves. Otherwise, someone remain. How much do you know of a stranger with no relationship? How can you know just by your eyes, by your analysis? You can only know when the person reveals himself. So it's like that with Vrindavan. And it's like it revealed, Vrindavan revealed itself in the hearts of the people who just expressed so much joy at the recitation of kirtan of Krishna's name when people are enthusiastic. So already my anxiety is relieved because my service is that people experience Vrindavan. Because that experience can be their faith. Faith, I've said this many times, is trust, unflinching trust in something sublime. It's trust by experience in sublimity that allows you to have faith in sublimity and the process that gives you sublimity. So Vrindavan has a special way of doing that because it's part of Panchanga Bhakti. If you do it in the proper mood, it gives you a realization, a taste of devotion that's so much higher than what you normally can experience. So, yeah, and I tell people, analogies are a very way to explain something. It's just a very powerful tool. And I come up with my own analogies. And I gave the analogy of a dog whistle makes a sound that we cannot hear because we don't have the apparatus to do so. Just because you don't see or hear something means that something doesn't exist. It may mean that you may not have the qualification to experience it. So it's the same thing with Vrindavan. There's something there that's quite beautiful. It's the spiritual world. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And you have to have the apparatus. If you don't have the apparatus, then you see the traffic, you see the noise, you smell the sewer, whatever. You see anything else but the most beautiful thing in the world. But the principle is to stay engaged in devotional service under the guide of a Vaishnava. And people so readily did that they so readily entered. So far it's been quite an auspicious start. And because I have the class, they went out with one devotee I sent them with, and they'll go see some temples. But the freshness, the enthusiasm, the open-heartedness, the camaraderie, it's just a wonderful, wonderful group of people. Now we're in the Caitanya-bhāgavata, and I have some kind of doubt, because I think one of my strengths, hopefully by Prabhupada's grace in presentation, is to conceptualize and express things succinctly. And in one sense, I'm just feeling now there's just not many new ideas. It's the same thing. It's just rasa. It's just your experience with Lord Chaitanya, your experience with Krishna. And I do feel to keep people engaged, they have to have some context of philosophy. When I look in the rasa that's being presented, I look for a philosophical point that I can explain. But anyway, I'm just going to tell the context and we'll have to relish it. And it's just, we're watching Lord Chaitanya in his relationship with his devotees. And one of the main relationships with his devotees is kirtan. Kirtan is a great relationship because it's a shared bliss. When you share something with someone, it's a great feeling of camaraderie. And there's nothing like sharing kirtan, especially kirtan that goes deep and there's some deep experience. So we're just saying Lord Chaitanya meeting devotees and having kirtan and devotees joining kirtan. And Nīlācala means Puri, and it says in this way, he enjoyed pastimes. He enjoyed pastimes of kirtan. And now it's just going to explain further. It's a repetitive thing, but hopefully it's a relishable thing. Vayam natu vitriptatma uttama shloka vartate yatrinvitan rasaganam swado. We never get tired. Rasaganam. We never get tired of love. And we have to have that taste by hearing it and experiencing it. It's just relishing it. You know, even when I'm chanting in the morning, and the chanting has been very concentrated, improved. Yeah. And you know, pretty focused. And I concentrated on the thought of what is boredom. Boredom is a thought that happens when one is not experiencing some pleasure in some activity. So the pleasure of the activity is the love, the connection of Krishna. It's not anything external. It's an energy between you and God that manifests when you offer your consciousness in concentration. So we'll go on. Nīlācale janmila yatike anuchar shabe chanilina nija praneri ishvara. All the Lord's associates appeared in Nīlācala, gradually recognized. Shut this off. Gradually recognized the Lord of their life, Pranera Ishvara, Lord of their life. Prana is life. So there's an experience that food gives life. And for the devotee, and without it, you die. But for the devotee, matchita, matkata, prana, bodhyantas paraspara. That matchita, my heart, matkata, my goal, matchita, matkata, prana, my very life. Bodhyantas parasparam, this enlightenment, this exchange with devotees, that's life. Experience of reality is life. Reality is beautiful. The whole purpose of yoga is to bring the mind to sattva, the true nature of being. The true nature of a mirror is that it's straight and it's clean and it can be reflective. The true nature of the mind is the same thing. The yoga is meant to bring the mind to sattva. And then you can see properly. And when you can see properly, you can feel properly. That's the whole idea of actually understanding God. The whole idea of understanding God is feeling God. Because there's an energy of relationship with God, which is satisfying because it is our birthright, it is our nature. And that nature itself is pleasurable because the ultimate reality when you're free from illusion is rasa vai saha. It is this free flow of energy of love and happiness, etc., relationship with reality. Reality is beautiful. You just have to see reality. So this is the real life, and what's happening with these devotees is that they're gradually recognizing that this is God. because they're feeling it. That's faith. It's an undeniable feeling of transcendence and happiness that is far greater than anything sensual or anything egotistical, that becomes your goal, that becomes reality, that becomes something that you seek. So this is a realization. It's not just an understanding. They are experiencing a relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Absolute. Śrī Pradyumna Mishra Krishna Premara Sag Atmapada Yanre Dila Śrī Gaurasundara. Śrī Pradyumna Mishra was an ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. Śrī Gaurasundara personally gave him shelter at his lotus feet. Krishna Premara Sagara, Sagar, the ocean of Krishna Prem. He was an ocean of love. And Atmapad Gaurasundara personally gave him shelter at his lotus feet. In other words, he accepted him. That's one of the joys of spiritual life. One of the symptoms of love of Godhead. One of the desires that manifest in the heart of one who is purified. You desire for darshan, you desire for service, and you desire for acceptance. I accept you. Krishna comes and says, I accept you. Prabhupada comes and says, I accept you. Vaishnavas come, Guru comes, and I accept you. But what do you accept? You accept that heart that wants to give themselves in service. The heart that realizes, and I've mentioned this many times, there's something higher than my desires and opinions. There's an absolute truth by which, if I live my life, I experience the absolute truth, which is rasa vai saha, which is the ultimate feeling of love and relationship. So he's describing these Premara, Krishna Premara Saga, the ocean of ecstatic love. So he's describing different devotees. Paramananda Mahapatra Mahasai, Yanre Tane Sri Chaitan Bhakti Rasamai. The body of Paramananda Mahapatra Mahasai was filled with the mellows of devotional service. These words are just so beautiful. It's so nice to hear. Sri Chaitanya Bhakti Rasa Moya. Moya means to be filled with Bhakti Rasa. Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavato Mati. What is Krishna consciousness? This is from the Padyavali by Rupa Goswami. Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavato Mati. The mind is filled with the mood of Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa, of my devotional relationship with God. So here is a person that's described that is completely filled. And we have to pray for this. We really have to pray for God to manifest our relationship with him. Because we all know that happiness is relationship, even in the material sense. To the extent that you're satisfied is the extent that you have satisfactory relationships with your children, with your spouse, with your friends, with your guru, with your students. The extent you're satisfied is relationship. And our eternal relationship, the object of the ultimate relationship, is God. Is the ultimate reality, Advayam Gyan, consciousness, which nothing's separate with. Prema Pumartha Mahan, the thing that has the greatest value is this. Kasi Mishra Parama Vivala Krishna Rase Apane Rahila Prabhu Yanda. Kasi Mishra was greatly overwhelmed in the mellows of love for Godhead. Another Vivala means overwhelmed. Parama Vivala means greatly overwhelmed in Krishna Rase, completely overwhelmed in love. So it's such a beautiful concept. Such a beautiful concept. That there's an object of love, and you're overwhelmed in that object of love. And that object of love is universal. So in one sense, it's not just a love directed as a person, it's a love directed at a person, which gives you such a love that it's directed towards everything. And Lord Chaitanya stayed at his house. If you ever came to Puri with me, we go to the Gambhira. Kashi Mishra, I think, was the manager or one of the, in charge of Puri or something. And he gave Lord Chaitanya a room in his house. Mata Prabhu Sarva Britya Kari Shange Niravadi Gonayena Shankirta Range. In this way, the Lord and all his servants, Mata Prabhu Sarva Britya, the servants, Niravadi, constantly, Sankirtaran, constantly engaged in Sankirtan. It was just so nice. We all just chanted Hare Krishna. And that's all. We just went out and we watched the doors of Vrindavan open up through the hearts of the people who have that kind of love, which you will find no place else in the world. All the renowned servants of Lord Chaitanya gradually came and took up residence in Nīlācala. Of course, people who were married generally had to go back to Bengal. But the people who were renounced, Haridas Thakur, Srila Rupa Goswami, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, they could take up residence. So this is being described. Now, Nityananda Prabhuvara Parama Udham Sara Nīlācale Brahma Mahajoti Dham Lord Nityananda Prabhu Baho Koti Chandra Jina. Nityananda Prabhu is most independent and effulgent. He wandered all over Nīlācala. He was always intoxicated by the mellows of transcendental ecstasy, Niravadi, always, Parananda, Rasa, Unamata. Unamata means mad, intoxicated. The highest consciousness is intoxication, but with love. Actually, it's a very interesting description in the rasa dance that rasa becomes greater than God. How does it do? Because generally you act for pleasure, so you are the controller. But when you're intoxicated, out of pleasure you act, so the pleasure becomes the controller. So Nityananda is Udmata, he's intoxicated by Parananda Ras, and no one can understand his incomprehensible glories. It's hard to understand. He constantly chanted the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Even in his dream, he would not speak anything else. One sadhu, kind of said something that humbled me. He said, if you want to know, because our philosophy is I forgot the verse, but whatever you're thinking, Caitanya-bhāgavata whatever you're thinking the time of death, to that nature you will go. But when it says thinking, it's more not just the intellectual, it's your mood. When you have a mood, it stays despite your thoughts. When the focus of your concentration is your thoughts, they go when you think of something else. But a mood is more substantial. So whatever your mood is at the time of death, to that nature you will go. Oh, I can't remember that verse. To that nature you will go. So the sadhu told me that if you want to know what you will be thinking at the time of death, then see what you're dreaming, because they're both the same. At the time of death, you have no control over your thoughts. Your thoughts will move independent of your control, because Krishna-katha parapankaja pankarajam adyeva me vishatumana saraja. King Kulashekar says, let me die now when the swan of my mind is entangled with the lotus of your thoughts, lotus of your feet. Otherwise, at the time of death, when I'm choked up with mucus bile, and how will I remember you? So when you're dreaming, it's the same thing. There's no control. It's what's ever in there just turns around spontaneously. So Nityananda, what spun around spontaneously, even in his dreams, was Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And actually, the perfection of mantra, this is just, it's just a mechanical thing. It's there in different yogic texts. When you perfect the mantra, it goes on in your heart, independent of your conscious effort. I know the late, great Dr. Fakir Mohan, who I was fortunate to have some relationship with, he had 6 heart attacks before he died, and he went unconscious. And the doctors, he was constantly chanting. When I heard that Krishnadas Babaji was leaving his body, I immediately went to the hospital he was staying. He had already left for Mathura, and I met the doctor. The doctor swore to me that when he put the stethoscope to his chest, he heard the chanting of the holy name. So we have to come to that platform. Nitai's love for Lord Chaitanya was like the love and attachment Lakshman had for Ramachandra. So brothers, he had a brotherly love. By the mercy of Lord Nityananda, the entire world is now singing the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Because who is Nityananda? He's Balaram. What is Balaram? He's the savior to a Godhead. Krishna enjoys rasa and does all affairs of existence and knowledge through Balaram. Lord Chaitanya is in Puri trying to experience the internal reason for his descent, which is to experience the love of Sri Radha at the height. And who does the work? of preaching, it's Lord Nityananda. So by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, the entire world, he's the one who's doing that work. In this way, the two brothers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nitai, lived at Nīlācala. One day, Śrī Gaurasundara, the Supreme Lord in the form of a human being, sat down with Nityananda in a solitary place. The Lord said, "Listen, O magnanimous Nityananda, go quickly to Navadvip. I have personally promised to inundate the fools, the fallen, and the poor in the happiness of ecstatic love." So he sends him from Nīlācala, which is, there are many reasons, but because just like Krishna is enjoying and he does the work of creation, all affairs of existence, knowledge, guru, existence, the creation of all the avatars, he does it through Balaram. So Lord Chaitanya does it through his work, which is to spread the holy name. He does it through Nityananda. If you remain silent like a Muni and renounce your magnanimous nature, then tell me, who will deliver the fools and wretched souls who have fallen into material life? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kora More Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar Ara Kabe Nitai Chander Karuna Hoibe Samsara Kabe Tuche Habe. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Kora, he's full of this compassion. So you have to give. You have to give. For your heart to remain open to Krishna, it says bhakti is love towards God, and the same energy reflected to the souls is compassion. So to keep the heart open for bhakti, you have to have compassion. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur says, Jiva Doi, Krishna Nam, Sarva Dharma Sar, the essence of all religion is compassion by giving God. You are the distributor of the mellows of devotional service. If you hide them, then what is the use of your incarnation in the world? Now, if you wish to fulfill my promise, then you should go to Bengal without delay. Deliver the foolish, wretched, fallen, and distressed persons by giving them devotional service. Having received the order, Nityananda Chandra immediately left for Gaudadesh with his associates. One of the moods of servitorship is one of the expressions, the outward expressions of love is accepting the order with hands folded, the hands that are used selfishly and now for God and others. And the mood of a devotee is waiting for the will of God to manifest and to follow it wherever it takes one. Right now, we have our own objectives, our own plans, etc. But the fully surrendered soul is in the mood of a gopi, which is kinkari. What you want, I will do. And that becomes one's happiness. I'm also, when I'm chanting and I want to go deeper, and I want to go deeper and I'm looking at my heart and I just, I have to go deeper. Well, there's this anchor of this attachment and this attachment and this attachment. And I really have to want to give them up. I really have to want to surrender to Krishna fully, to go to the next level of my Nam Bhajan. That's when the mind is clear. That's when the mind is focused, and that's what the mind will find. Having received the Lord's order, Nityananda immediately left. Nityananda Swarup was accompanied by his intimate associates such as Ramdas, Gadadhar Das Mahasai, Raghunath Vaidya, who was filled with the mellows of devotional service, Krishna Das Pandit, Parameshwar Das, and the most jubilant Puranda Pandit. As they began their journey, Lord Nityananda first bestowed ecstatic love on all of his associates. As a result, they completely forgot themselves. There was no end to the ecstatic symptoms that manifest in their body. So they were receptive, and Krishna, God is responsive. It's mercy. You can never deserve it. If you deserve something, it's not mercy. And to get God, it has to be mercy because you can never deserve God. And if you think you can, then it's not God because you can't pay for God. But you can attract God because God is merciful. Patita Pavana, Hetu, Tapa. This avatar comes from Patita Pavana, those who are most fallen. So you can attract mercy by the full-hearted expression of need. And when you have that full-hearted expression of need, then you'll be able to experience mercy. So these were completely surrendered souls. And therefore, karadehi kata bhava nahi tar anta, there was no limit. There's no limit to the ecstatic symptoms that are manifesting in their hearts. The topmost Vaishnav, Ramdas, was the first to manifest the mood of a cowherd boy. Somewhere in the way, Ramdas forgot the external world and stood for 9 hours in a threefold bending form. Gadadhar Das became absorbed in the mood of Radhika. He loudly laughed and said, "Who will buy yogurt?" The most magnanimous, so he's describing all his associates. Raghunath Vaidya became fully absorbed in the mood of Revati. Krishna Das and Parameshwar Das would always raise a loud uproar in the mood of cowherd boys. Puranda Pandit would climb a tree and jump on it, declaring, "I am Angada." In this way, Nityananda, the origin of Ananta, aroused all of the devotees' transcendental sentiments. So by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, they awakened their eternal relationship with Krishna. We want love. Love comes in relationship. We have to understand our relationship with Krishna. After some time, they would ask some people, "Oh, brothers, tell us how we can reach the Ganges." Those people would reply, "Alas, you have taken the wrong path. You have come 6 hours away from the proper path." After hearing their words, they would return to the right path, but they would then go in the wrong direction as before. Again, they would ask some people to reply, "The proper path is 20 miles to the left." They then laughed and went again towards the proper path. They were not even aware of their own bodies, to what to speak of the road. They did not feel any bodily urges like hunger, thirst, fear, or distress, for they were all relishing transcendental happiness. Who can know or describe all the pastimes that Nityananda performed on the way? They were all unlimited. In this way, Nityananda, the origin of Lord Ananta, came to the village of Panihati on the bank of the Ganga. Raghava Pandit, Sri Makardhwaj Kara, and their families became greatly pleased. In this way, Nityananda stayed with his associates in the village of Panihati. He would constantly roar loudly in ecstasy, and he was always absorbed with no sign of external consciousness. When he felt the desire to dance, all the singers quickly gathered around him. The most pious Madhava Ghosh was expert at performing kirtan. There was no kirtan leader like him in the whole world. We know in the Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya made different groups. And he made different groups. And it says, the highest thing is kirtan. And the highest kirtan is chanting it yourself, except if there's someone more expert. So the four best kirtaneers that we know in Chaitanya Leela is Srivas Thakur, Sarup Damodar, Mukunda, and Madhava Ghosh. So Hena Kirtaniya Nahi Prithvi Bitar, in the Prithvi, the earth. Hena Kirtaniya, there's none like him. He was known as the singer of Vrindavan, and he was most dear to Nityananda Sarup. Madhava, Vasudeva, and Govinda were three brothers. When they began to sing, Lord Nityananda would dance. Madhurya Nityara, it's described in the Panihata, when Lord Nityananda danced, it was very sweet. Your body communicates language. For example, in your face, they've analyzed this. There's hundreds of muscles and different emotions. Different emotions express different physical transformations in your face, express different emotions. And these people who studied all these things, they could look at a face, they can tell if they're lying, they can tell so many things. But dance is a language. And Madhurya, the sweetness of love of Godhead, would manifest in the movements of Lord Nityananda. The most powerful Avadut would dance in such a way that the earth would sway under the weight of his feet. He would always chant the names of Hari and roar loudly. People would be struck with wonder on seeing him forcibly fall to the ground. Anyone who received his glance as he was dancing would fall to the ground in ecstatic love. Nityananda, who was filled with the mellows of ecstatic love, now began his auspicious task of delivering the entire world. He manifested all the various transformations of loving devotional service as he danced wonderfully. After some time, he sat down on the deity throne and instructed the devotees to perform Abhishek. Raghava Pandit and the Lord's other associates immediately began to perform Abhishek. So this is the very interesting thing with Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. They're God in the mood of the devotee. But sometimes to give mercy to the devotees, they manifest the mood of God to become the object of worship. And Lord Nityananda is now sitting on the throne. They brought thousands of pots filled with Ganga water mixed with various scented oils. Everyone happily poured water on his head as they all chanted the name of Hari in the four directions. They all chanted the mantras and songs that were appropriate for Abhishek, and everyone's hair stood on end as they became filled with great satisfaction. After completing the Abhishek, they dressed Nityananda in new cloth and smeared his body with sandalwood pulp. They decorated his broad chest with garlands of forest flowers and tulsi leaves. Then they brought an opulent throne decorated with gold and placed it before him. As Lord Nityananda sat on the throne, Raghavananda held an umbrella over his head. All the devotees chanted Jai Jai. Musical instruments produced ecstatic vibrations in the four directions. Everyone raised their arms and exclaimed, "Save us, save us." They were in such ecstasy that they forgot themselves. In his own ecstatic words, Lord Nityananda showered everyone in the four directions with ecstatic love by his merciful glance. He ordered, "Listen, Raghava Pandit, quickly bring me a garland of Kadamba flowers. I'm very fond of Kadamba flowers. In fact, I always reside in a Kadamba forest." With folded hands, Raghava Pandit said, "This is not the season for Kadamba flowers." The Lord then said, "Go home and look carefully. There may be some blooming everywhere." Raghava Pandit went inside the house and was struck with wonder at what he saw. He saw that the lime tree was filled with the most amazing blooming Kadamba flowers. How wonderful was the color and fragrance of those flowers. All one's material bondage was destroyed by seeing those flowers. When Raghava Pandit saw those Kadamba flowers, he lost external consciousness and became filled with jubilation. He then checked his emotions and quickly brought a garland, which he brought to Nityananda Prabhu. When Nityananda saw the garland of Kadamba flowers, he accepted it with great satisfaction. All the devotees became overwhelmed after seeing this wonderful incident and on smelling the sweet fragrance of the Kadamba flowers garland. Shortly thereafter, another most wonderful incident took place. Everyone smelled the wonderful fragrance of Damanaka flowers. The Latin name is Artemisia indica, or maybe the Hindi name. The fragrance of Damanaka flowers enchanted everyone's mind. All 10 directions were filled with this fragrance. Nityananda smiled and said, "Oh, brothers, tell me, do you smell something?" Everyone folded their hands and said, "We smell the wonderful fragrance of Damanaka flowers in the four directions." On hearing their words, Lord Nityananda mercifully revealed the secret behind this. Nityananda Prabhu said, "Listen to this most confidential topic. All you should understand it. Lord Chaitanya came today from Nīlācala to hear the kirtan. His body was decorated with a divine garland of Damanaka flowers, and he stayed here while leaning against one tree. The four directions were filled with divine fragrance of the Damanaka flowers that were decorating his body. The Lord personally came from Nīlācala to see you dance and chant in kirtan. Therefore, you should give up all other engagements and absorb yourself in the constant glorification of Lord Krishna. May all of you become filled with the mellows of ecstatic love by constantly glorifying Sri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra." After speaking these words, Nityananda loudly chanted the name of Hari. Then he set his love-filled glance in all directions. By the love-filled glance of Nityananda Sarup, everyone forgot themselves. "Oh, brothers, hear about the power of Nityananda and how he distributed devotional service throughout the entire world. The devotion of the gopis described in Nityananda in Srimad Bhagavatam was awarded to the people of the world by Nityananda. As Nityananda was sitting on the throne, all the devotees danced before him. Someone climbed on a branch of a tree and walked on the leaves, yet he did not fall. Someone roared loudly in ecstatic love and jumped down from the top of the tree. Someone roared as he grabbed the root of a tree and then uprooted it while chanting the name of Hari. Someone ran into a betel nut forest, grabbed 5 or 7 trees and uprooted them together. His body was filled with such powerful ecstatic love that he uprooted those trees as if they were a blade of grass. Nityananda's ecstatic love was so powerful that everyone's body became filled with transformations of ecstatic love for Krishna, described in the Śrīmad-bhāgavatam, such as crying, shivering, being stunned, perspiring, hairs standing on end, shouting loudly, voice choking, turning pale, thundering, roaring like a lion, and falling unconscious in ecstasy. There was an intense shower of ecstatic devotional love in whatever direction Nityananda cast his glance. Whoever he looked at lost consciousness in ecstatic love and rolled in his ground, on the ground, forgetting his cloth. As someone tried to keep hold of Nityananda Swarup's feet, Nityananda sat on the throne and smiled. All the principal associates of Nityananda were fully empowered. They became omniscient, and whatever they spoke came true. Their features resembled those of Cupid. Anyone who was touched by their hands forgot everything and became overwhelmed in ecstasy. In this way, Nityananda relished devotional service for 3 months in the village of Panihati. For 3 months, no one manifested external consciousness. They did not even feel the slightest urge of the body. None of them ate anything for 3 months. They did nothing other than dance in the happiness of ecstatic love. The happiness of ecstatic love that manifests in the village of Panihati will be described in the 4 Vedas. Who has the ability to describe all the pastimes that Nityananda performed in a half an hour? Nityananda passed every moment dancing in ecstasy in the midst of his associates. Sometimes he would sit in the virasana posture and have the devotees dance one after another before him. The dancing of each devotee was so sublime that the 4 directions became filled with a flood of ecstatic love. In the happiness of ecstatic love, everyone would fall to the ground like banana trees, falling in a great storm. All the devotees did whatever Nityananda asked them to do. He would induce all the devotees to constantly perform Sankirtan, as inaugurated by Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He began to manifest such ecstatic love that anyone who came to watch became overwhelmed. Whenever any servant desired something, he would immediately receive it. In this way, they were all so absorbed in the mellow's ecstatic love that those 3 months seemed to them as only a moment. After some days, Nityananda desired to decorate himself with some ornaments. As soon as that desire awoke, all varieties and ornaments appeared. Okay. So today, I really felt we became qualified just to sit and relish rasa. I usually don't read like that, but I was relishing it. I hope you were too. Jamuna Jaya, you want to start?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to relish. It was, I of course was about 3 months of dancing straight. Wow. So amazing. I was just hearing an earlier lecture today about Lord Nityananda and Balaram. So this was such a nice continuation, but I was in my mind, I was thinking the part where you said that Lord Nityananda was sitting on the throne, you know, playing God so that the devotees could worship. And so often in our lives, we try to sit on the throne and play God, but not for people to relish for our own satisfaction. So I was noticing the dichotomy in that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jamuna. Okay, we have Indira here, Karuna Purna, Jal Kaylee, daughter. Kaylee's doing fantastic. Amala Vaishnav, Yasaman, who's generally on our group. Ian from England so far. Jagannath Priya. Yeah. This is when you experience Krishna consciousness, when you're fully fully absorbed. Okay. Anybody else have any reflection? Or say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for the class.
Sri Radhika, your mother's doing fantastic.
Oh, I'm happy.
She's there's such a camaraderie between her and the other ladies, basically her age, and she's just flying high.
Oh, great.
Okay. My friend Henry, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for that deeply satisfying class.
We're beginning to relish. We're beginning just to relish, just hearing about love. And Voltaire said that which you appreciate, it comes to you. So this is our process. So hearing the pastimes is kind of wonderful. Thank you, Henry. Oh yeah, and we went with Joe Cayley today. At the end of our parikram, you know, we did kirtan down the parikram path, and then Prem Kishore had a kirtan party on the road, and we stopped there. And then we went to the original deity of the Kali of Krishna. We sat, we did kirtan and some katha. And then as we came back, we went to Prem Kishore's farm. We fed the cows bananas. We really had that sense that you really want to understand Krishna, you have to serve the cows. It's just so clear that that was Krishna's life, that was Krishna's sustenance. It was the cows, and just being there and serving and massaging them and feeding them bananas and just being in that atmosphere. It's just a realization. It's not intellectual. You say, yes, yes. And then I began to lament because I'm an alien. I'm not an earthman. Earthmen, you know, we're aliens, Henry, Washington, New York. You know, we don't, the dirt, the ground, we don't got that feel, you know. But I lament because I know that's so connected with Krishna consciousness, right? Your connection with Gita-nagari is a very important part of your spiritual life. Okay, okay, nice to see you, Henry, thanks. Okay, very well. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Malati.
Malati, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm actually calling you from Gita-nagari right now.
Oh, that's right. You have this relationship with Gita-nagari, right? You go down there.
I'm building it. Yeah, this is my second time.
Okay, and what do you do down there?
I've made some really nice connections with some of the devotees. So I just came for one night, this visit, and I'm just reconnecting with some of those devotees. And
okay, which devotees? Maybe I know them.
One of them is a young lady from Philadelphia. Her name is Queenie. And Divya Devi Dasi moved here a month or two ago from California or Denver.
Well, it's really great because you're taking advantage. You don't live that far. You live outside of Philadelphia. It's like, a 2-hour ride?
Yes, 2.5, 3, yeah.
2.5 hours. And it's a dham. You get to visit the holy place because there's nothing in Gita-nagari but service to Radha Damodar.
Absolutely.
And that's what Prabhupada wanted. He wanted these to establish places of Krishna's pastimes in the West. So take advantage of it. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's an opulence.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully some of the service will rub off on me.
And they have some facilities there that you can stay?
They do. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, keep it up. It's really nice. I'm happy to see you there.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Happy to see you there.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here.
Kishore Radha. Priya.
Oh, I heard Priya too, all three of you. I'm happy when I hear all three. Yeah. Okay, this is a year off. Next year, someplace.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Maybe even Kishore will come to Kali for a couple of days.
That would be nice.
It really will be. Okay, anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You're looking
Hey.
very well, Maharaj.
I'm ruining it though, because I did all that punch karma, right?
Yes. Yeah. How was it?
It was very powerful, very good.
Yeah.
My digestion is good. I lost like 4 kilos. But when I came back to Vrindavan, it's, you know, it's not set up.
Yeah.
So there's this Italian lady who has dedicated her life to cook the most incredible gourmet prasadam for Vaishnavas. So today she invited me and Javi over. She makes everything fresh. And what incredible pizza. I can't believe it. It was just, I was just, but I only had 3 pieces.
Very
Okay.
good. Enjoy.
I'm doing good. My digestion is really even better. I'm doing really good. But, you know, my focus now is the people here. It's not on my health and the diet. I mean, the people are here. We're taking care of them. And they're really doing good because, you know, usually, you know, people, they're completely into it. So it's really enlivening.
Well, enjoy, Maharaj.
One second, come in. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, well, Govinda.
Haribol.
Thanks. Haribol, thank you for class.
Yeah, great to see both of you. Okay.
Having such separation
As
from
soon
you
as
and
I
Dom.
come back to America, I'm only back for 4 days. I'm arriving on the 19th. On the 20th, I'm going to do a program at Jai Shri Radhe's.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So put that on your calendar. Okay.
Absolutely.
Emily, brought it?
Yes.
Okay. Put it up here and go out and get me some more water. Okay. Just put the food here. My main man, Amala. They all think he's an old sadhu in Vrindavan.
Hey, Amala.
Amala, say hello to the people here.
Haribol.
Okay.
Hi.
He's got the beads and the funky haircut and the tisika. It's like, oh.
How many waters, Maharaj?
What? Bring like 3.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Shankishwar Das.
Hey, Haribol. Haribol. Do you think you may be able to come to Kali, or it's still a struggle?
Maybe we can.
Okay.
I think we may risk it. We will risk it.
What? You'll try.
I think we will try. We'll take the chance and then pray to Krishna that we can make it.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll try because it should be really nice, and maybe Jai Jagannath will come. It's contingent on something that I'm working on for him, but he does want to come for me. I just got to get him the right documents, but I'm working on it. So if he comes, that'll be nice, and yeah, it'll be great. Okay. Okay. Anybody else like to say
Hare
hello?
Krishna Maharaj.
Isabel, nice to see you. Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for class.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Śrī Gaurasundara.
Śrī Gaurasundara, nice to hear from you. Haribol. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Oh, sorry.
That's
This is Missy. Hare Krishna.
Missy. Okay. I'll look at the message and see if there's some time I can speak to you. What time do you get back from work?
I should be home around 4:30.
4:30. Okay. If you call me right at 4:30, I may have a little time before the other people come, but the window is kind of tight. So as soon as you come back, then call me, okay?
I will, definitely. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else? Say hello.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Don Cayley. Thank you for class.
What are you doing? Skiing?
Yeah, my exercise. Yeah. Skiing.
What kind of exercise?
I'm skiing this morning.
Skiing?
Yes.
Okay. I guess there's plenty of snow, right?
Oh yeah, we got a storm last night, about 6 inches up here.
Well, it's a miracle that everyone here is actually getting here. I thought planes would be canceled, so it's okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you all. It's so nice being with you. Hare Krishna.